Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of Last Epoch once again. And what do I have for you today? Fun 1.0 Sentinel builds for the up and coming February 21st Echoes from the Void update. Now I get asked over and over again, Aaron, do you plan on updating your current builds? And the answer is yes. I'm just not updating them right now. If I dropped new updates for all my builds today, they would be obsolete in 9 days. So I don't want to put out inaccurate information. But no, once the February 21st comes, every single week I'll have 1 or 2 builds updated and refreshed on YouTube and over on Icy Veins. So those builds are coming. So for today, let's talk some Sentinel. If you want to be a sword and board monster or you want to be a dual wielding, this is going to be the video for you. So let's kick things off with Paladin, my favorite. And just a reminder that Paladin is getting a new skill called Healing Hands for 1.0. So some of these builds again might be refreshed with that new skill. Now, if you're familiar with my builds at all, we're going to start off with my Holy Smiter. And there's a lot of members of the community that always run this build. They really enjoy it. And I believe this is the 6th iteration of my Holy Smiter. Now, Smite is normally a skill that is auto cast. So through your movement ability, through javelin, through throwing attacks, it will auto cast Smite. In this build, you are using the Devotion Amulet and you are manually casting your Smite. And the Devotion Amulet has a very interesting mechanic. You want the highest amount of maximum mana, let's say 1,000 mana. And you want to use your skill because the lower your mana is, as far as depletion, the higher your damage is. So you can get your tooltip for Smite over 500,000 damage. It is absolutely insane, but of course it does require some maintenance. So you keep your mana low by instant casting your Sigils of Hope. The build has perfect synergy, and the current iteration is unequivocally the best version of it. It's pretty easy to make as well. The only thing that is required is the Devotion Amulet, and it isn't hard to find, and you can use Runes of Ascendance to craft it as well. So not too bad. There's also, of course, a full written guide on Icy Veins for my Holy Smiter build that gives you the build mechanics, tips and tricks, what affixes you should target, and has my video embedded as well. So you can check that out if you need a visual. So let's switch gears to my other Paladin build, and this is my Unstoppable Paladin. Now I just want to stop for a second. It is stoppable. Because people are like, why do you call it unstoppable? Obviously, it can die. Yes, it can die. It is just very, very tanky. And this is your true melee brawler. When people ask me, Aaron, I want a barbarian style character. In your face, you run from pack to pack, hitting them. This is going to be the build for you. This is probably actually my most popular build for Paladin. And this is focused around the third swing of Rive. The third swing of Rive, which is a free skill, will use kill threshold, will always crit, and hits in an AoE, and it's really, really pretty and nice to look at because they just updated the VFX on it. So you literally run pack to pack, jumping around and just tearing up enemies in melee combat, and 95% of the time you could literally just sit there and face tank. Now, the old version of the Unstoppable Paladin used the Bastion of Honor shield. If you want to be super tanky, you can switch off the dual wielding weapon and put on a Bastion of Honor, and you will literally almost never die. That being said, I really wanted to squeeze more DPS out of this build, and in the new iteration of Unstoppable Paladin, you're dual wielding. So yes, you're a little bit more stoppable, but you are going to be doubling your DPS. So that's kind of a personal preference. If you aren't playing with the group and you just want to be that tank, you could throw on a shield, but it is not required. Again, full build is over on Icy Veins with all the written descriptions and everything you need to know for how to build your Unstoppable Paladin, as well as the video. So now let's switch gears and talk about Void Knight. And the first build that I have for you is a Racing Strike Void Cleave. In this build, if you are a fan of massive hits, like screen clearing hits, this is going to be the build for you. A Racing Strike, the skill in Last Epoch, literally erases the screen. Yes, Aaron, you said that already. No. If you've never played this ability, the enemies disappear. They like blink out of existence. There's no corpse, there's no nothing. It actually feels like a glitch in the game, and it is very, very cool. So if you are a fan of like one punch, huge damage, and there is some build up to it. So it's like hit, kabow, hit, boom. Like that is how this ability or build works, and I gotta tell you, it is really, really fun. There's a new updated, refreshed version coming up on Icy Veins. This should be coming up within the next 48 hours, and what you are seeing is the gameplay for it. The link to the video is in the description below. Now I have one more build for you when it comes to Void Knight, and this was created by my friend Gazzy. The link for the written guide is in the description over on Icy Veins. Void Knight Time Bubble Warpath Endgame. Another name for this build is Echo Warpath. So if you are a fan of spin to win, Aaron, I just want to spin around, hold the button, and kill everything, this is going to be the build for you. Now, this build focuses on Anomaly, Lunge, Warpath, Sigils of Hope, and Rebuke. And when you actually look at the passive tree for it, this is the tree where you are going to get your echoes. So not only will you be spinning, but you are also going to be creating echoes of yourself spinning. So enemies that you don't really kill that are trailing behind you, what are they going to do? They're going to run into your other spinning warpaths that are echoes of yourself and killing them, and you can actually boost the damage from your echoes. It is a very, very cool build. If you're a fan of spin to win, this is going to be the build for you. Last but not least, let's talk about Forge Guard. And normally when you're thinking of that knight, that barbarian, that melee bruiser, you're not really thinking about minions. Well, inside of Last Epoch, the Forge Guard is the minion variant of the Sentinel. And you don't have to run it minions, but that's the way I like to run it. Now, in this build, unlike the Echo Warpath build for Void Knight, this is going to be a Forged Minions Warpath build, which means what you're going to be doing is spinning to win, and you're going to be hitting enemies, shredding their armor, but simultaneously you are going to be creating forged weapons. So you're going to be making animated weapons, swords and axes, that are going to be running around hitting enemies for you. It is a minion knight with animated weapons. It is very, very cool. If you like Necromancer, you go Skeletons. If you like Beast and Companions, you go Beastmaster. And if you want animated weapon minions, you go Forge Guard, Warpath, Forged Minions. And again, on Icy Veins is the full written down description and breakdown for this build. It is a fun and different class. Definitely a different take on minions. All right, everyone, that's the video. So what do you think of my recommendations for Sentinel? Do any of them look fun? Do any of them pique your interest? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. 2 asks at the end of the video. Ask number 1, I'm hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. I'm hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate it, but of course, only if you think I've earned it. And if I haven't earned it, I'm going to work harder for you. Ask number 2, check out my Patreon. Thank you to the first 98 members that have signed up. I get asked all the time, what's the best way to support? And Patreon is it. We do a monthly game night. You get access to VIP. You get access to live stream audio and video with me and all the exclusive content. Patreon is the best. It is the first link in the description. Come check out Aaron Action RPG on Twitch. I'm literally streaming every single day. It's always a good time, and we have lots of giveaways. I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron out.
Bye.